This is group number 5's presentation on wildlife ecotoxicology. The group members are Alyssa Williams, Alexa Worth, Emily Sloan, and Tristan Turpin. So what is wildlife ecotoxicology? Well, according to the Journal of Environmental and Analytical Toxicology, it is defined as the study of the effects of environmental contaminants on wildlife species as related to an animal's well-being, general health, and reproduction. Pesticides have widely been used in agriculture for many years, but now researchers are looking at the possible impacts of pesticides regarding wildlife communities. Toxicology in general deals with how chemicals impact our bodies and health. So in this instance, we are going to be discussing how pesticides impact the bodies and health of wildlife. This presentation will also discuss the effects of pesticides, how they influence ecosystems and populations, and the solutions to lessen the harmful exposure of pesticides to wildlife. Pesticides' intended effects. So there are a number of reasons we use pesticides and how they're beneficial to us. One of them being it reduces the number of pests. So people not wanting them in their homes, gardens, workplaces, or businesses, pesticides effectively take care of that issue. Another is it controls the spread of disease from carriers, such as from mosquitoes, rats, and ticks. So this is going to be your diseases like malaria from mosquitoes and then tick-borne illnesses from ticks. It also lessens weeds and insect infestation in agriculture and crops, so pesticides just ensure that we have a better crop yield and better quality of crops. As you can see from the two figures from the article, figure 1A from the article shows that the percentage of effect-related publications on pesticides has gradually increased from the years 1985 to 2013. And figure 1D mentions that there is a bias towards domestic and lab model species, in red including human cell lines, in relations to wildlife animals, which is in the yellow. So this just shows that while there has been research on both humans and wildlife, there has been less research on wildlife than humans.
The unintended effects that pesticides can have is that it can destroy the soil that is under the crops, kill insects that it is not intended to kill, such as bees, which can destroy food chains because pollination is one of the most important things in nature. It can run off into water and pollute the waterways, which can be harmful to animals, marine life, and humans. And it can also cause cancer, like Roundup weed killer does.
Population level measurements determine how likely a population is to recover after being exposed to a toxin like a pesticide. Populations are groups of individuals within the same species living and interbreeding within the same area. This chart demonstrates how population level effects by indicating how the effects of pesticides on individuals within the population can lead to an overall trend or outcome that can be observed for the population as a whole. For example, under the category for fish, you would notice that individuals may exhibit signs of neurotoxicity. What this means for the population is mass deaths. They are less likely to recover.
And the effects that pesticides can have on the community level are endless. For example, they can pollute the water supply, which can cause health problems for people and animals, like cancer, anything like that. And it can also decrease insect and animal wildlife, which are used for food in some places. For the ecosystem, they can damage the soil and make it totally unusable, and it can also make rivers and lakes uninhabitable, killing off marine life and therein destroying the food chain.
The best way to explain the effects of global change on pesticide consequences is with this chart. So I'm just going to make a quick few summarizations. Changes in precipitation caused by global change can affect the spatial distribution of pesticides, meaning it's harder to track the effects and harder to monitor where the pesticide is. Increased warming alters biotransformation, and pesticides have been linked to disrupted endocrine processes, which affects reproduction and therefore impairs populations. It can also be linked to acute poisoning, which impairs populations.
Some solutions to the use of pesticides is to stop the use of them altogether. This is to promote healthy animal, insect, marine, and human life. And if you can't just stop cold turkey, don't overuse them and use them sparingly. Also, to help the bees, if you're going to keep using pesticides, keep a large, diverse garden so that they can continue to pollinate and help us. And on a larger scale, another solution would be to treat lakes and rivers to remove pollutants that were put there by pesticides.
In conclusion, while pesticides may be effective in reducing pests and supporting food production for an ever-growing population, they are certainly not without their risk. Unintended effects can have detrimental consequences for populations within an ecosystem, and factors of global change, such as warming or climate change, can exacerbate these undesired outcomes. Solutions include minimizing or stopping the use of pesticides, as well as treating environments such as waterways.